Hello there, it's Infinity Recapped. Today we are going to explain Love After World Domination, which was released in April 2022. The anime begins with two couples resting in a garden. Our main protagonist Fudo was asked to test some cookies baked by Desumi. She was a bit worried about its taste, but he said it was shockingly delicious, and she was glad to hear that. Fudo then appreciated the weather, which was nice on their date. However, just below them we see a group of heroes fighting with some villains. Fudo can't resist himself by seeing her beauty, making Desumi uncomfortable. She asks him to stop it, not because she don't love him, but because she is not used to it. Fudo then asks her to hold each other's hands. According to his research, couples do this to make their relationship more stronger. They do it on second or third date. Desumi was not confident about this, but she starts to move her hand near to his. Their hearts were pounding as the gap between them was getting less, but suddenly a blue gelato interrupts them and instead they started fighting. It was later explained that Fudo was the member of Freezing Gelato 5, which protects the humanity from villainous organizations Gecko, and Desumi is one of its member, named by Reaper Princess. After Blue Gelato leave, they stop fighting and get excited after seeing that they finally managed to hold each other's hands. Later they show us a day when Fudo was getting ready to confess his love in Gelato headquarters, where he meet Haru, and they both head towards the meeting room, where he see Hayato trying to propose one girl to go on a date, but get rejected. Later they meet other members of the group, Misaki, Daigo and their commander Big Gelato. The meeting was about secret society called Gecko, which is planning the world domination, and their new leader, the Reaper Princess, made them more powerful than they ever was. Suddenly the alarm detects the danger, and they all head towards it. Later we see all Gelato in action and defeat all the mob. Then the Gecko monster bear tells them that battle is not over yet. Reaper Princess start to attack them. Fudo orders his team that he will look after her. Then we see a combat battle between Fudo and Reaper Princess. Later the monster bear accepts his defeat and asks Princess to retreat. While going, Princess appreciates Fudo for his performance and look forward to their next meet. Later at the headquarters, Fudo starts doing exercise even after they have just came back from their mission. Big Gelato asks Fudo, is there anything that you do in your free time rather than working out? Fudo says that there is something in his mind. Big Gelato think it must be related to world peace or the nature of justice, but Fudo says he is just thinking about the women that he loves. Big Gelato gets surprised after hearing this. Later Fudo says that he is afraid to confess his love because he is hero. Big Gelato slaps Fudo and says that he is still a human, so he should feel free and propose the women he loves. After hearing this, Fudo gets motivated and leave the headquarters. Later we see Fudo standing in front of Reaper Princess, where she think that Fudo came here to finish their remaining fight. But after a long awkward pause, Fudo just spit out the three magical words, "I love you." Desumi had no idea that Fudo will say such words to her. Later Fudo explains her that he was feeling that way since the moment they mate. She reminds him that they are mortal enemies. But Fudo said that he don't care about that, but she starts to attack him and says that you are just throwing this to tease me, because no man can love me after hearing rumors about me. But later Fudo managed to convince her and said even though we are mortal enemies, we can work it out, and ask her to be his girlfriend. Back to the present, Desumi shows picture of her cat, and later says that they have to be careful about their relationship, or they both won't able to stay together. However, they both have optimism that one day they will reveal their relationship to everyone. After hearing this, Fudo tries hug her, but Yellow Gelato appears, and they again starts to fight, and after insulting each other, Desumi leaves the location. Later again we saw a battle between Gelato 5 and a group of Gecko, where the two leaders fight each other, while using their ability to talk each other without saying a word. Later they finds a perfect place where they can be alone. Fudo notice and asks Desumi why they are sitting away from each other than usual. Desumi says that she must be smelly after that fight. However, Fudo says in reply that he would never leave her, no matter how smelly she is. Later Fudo tries to take her picture, but then Desumi suggests him to use his smartphone. While taking selfie, they realize that they came closer than they have ever been. He forgot to open his eyes because he was too distracted by her smell. But again suddenly Yellow Gelato appears. Fudo think they have been caught, but Desumi pretends to be defeated. A reporter comes near the Fudo to interview him and ask him about his thoughts on Reaper Princess. Fudo was being extremely complimentary but managed to hide their relationship. Finally, reporter asked him does he have any girlfriend. Fudo wanted to say yes, but Misaki says he can never have one because all he cares about his body. Desumi was a bit jealous about his growing popularity among the girls, but Fudo replies her that she is only her girlfriend and will do anything for her. Desumi suggests Fudo to go on actual date, and of course he said yes, but later revealed he doesn't know anything about the dating. so he scrolled bunch of websites. Then Misaki shows up and advises him to try some fun activities that you both enjoy doing. Later on their date, they compliment each other's outfit, and Fudo tells her that he have planned the entire date, but surprised by seeing that their first location was the historic training gym. After a hard workout, they go out for running. Later they decides to rest a bit, and then Fudo gave her a protein bar. Desumi excuses herself for restroom. Fudo was happy about how all things are going according to his plan, but Desumi not showed up for long. Later Misaki calls Fudo and tell that she was drunk and left out some important notes for dating. First, don't wear gym clothes like usual. Second, take her to a fancy restaurant, which explains why she haven't came back yet. Fudo runs to find her and promise he will try to do his best next time, but he was unable to find her and lost his all hopes. But Desumi appears and explain him that she was stuck at a shop for buying drinks for them, and later came back to the same spot to continue their conversation. Fudo was relieved but also surprised that she was actually enjoying this date. Desumi tells him that she is happy as long as they both are together. Let the world think what they want. Later he recalls the same feeling when they saw each other, and tries to go for a kiss, but a sudden alert knocks their emotions, and now they must head to battle. Only problem was when they brought into the battle, they were too distracted with each other. Afterwards we see the Gecko women's dorm, where we are introduced to Desumi's cute little cat, which was in believe that everyone is afraid of, Desumi the Reaper Princess, and explain that she is just a normal girl, which cries about her life, and wonders if she would ever find love. But one day when she came back home, everything was changed because of Fudo, and says if he did anything to his mistress he will pay for that. Later we came back to the Gelato headquarters, where everyone was enjoying their time, because Gecko organization had not shown any sign of them from 2 weeks. Fudo was happy about this, but deep down feels sad, because if they don't fight, he won't get chance to meet Desumi. But suddenly the alarm goes wild. Inform them about the Gecko location and the new weapon that they have developed. Fudo raises his hand fearlessly and volunteers in the mission. However, his true intentions was to meet Desumi. Reaper Princess arrived to their base and everyone start wondering about how dangerous she looked lately. But the real reason behind that look was she haven't seen Fudo. Monster Bear shows up and tells her about his new weapon to defeat the heroes. Later she looks at her pouch and came to know that it's used to store the weapons, but it's not really storing any violent item in it. She continues to walk and gets surprised by Fudo and talks him to his dressing room. She scolds him for doing such a reckless act. However, they both agree how much they want to see each other. Back at Fudo's base, his teammates were concerned about his safety, but back at Gecko he was enjoying the game of Uno with Desumi. Suddenly she received a call, and immediately she hid Fudo under her butt. While talking on a call she was warned about the intruder. After the call ends, she apologized for sitting on him. Again Monster Bear shows up and tries to enter in her room. She again acts quickly and end up locked themselves in a locker. Bear was quite skeptical about the slight moment of the locker, but suddenly Fudo gets out and give Bear a headbutt, which made the bear unconscious, and by mistake activates his weapon, ended up destroying their complete base, and his teammates thought that they have completed their mission. Later Desumi apologized for being a poor host, and tense to her cut, he compliments her back, and finally remembers to give her his phone number, so they can talk to each other whenever they want. Desumi cautiously asks that if she can call him tonight. Later she nervously makes her first call to him, but his mother picks the call and hand over to Fudo. They talk to each other for some time. Later that night, Gecko organization had a meeting with their supreme leader Bossler. He appreciate everyone for their work so far and managed to accumulate the negative emotions of humans, through which he can create new monsters in hope of world domination. However, their purpose behind that meeting was to decide their next target. Everyone gave their opinion. Not surprisingly, Desumi's all suggestions were the date locations, for which Bossler scolds her, but the bear says in between that one of her idea in the amusement park will be full of unsuspecting humans, through which they could gather a lot of negative emotions. Later, when Fudo was struggling while trying to use his phone, Desumi texts him and tells that Gecko's next location will be amusement park. Misaki was quite surprised by seeing Fudo using smartphone, and suspects something fishy is going on there. Later the Sunday arrives, and Misaki and Haru was trying to spy on Fudo. The monster bear noticed them all, and asked Reaper Princess to retreat, but she says it's too late now, because they are already spotted anyways, which was not true, and attack on Fudo. After seeing this, spy girls think he must have came here because he came to know about the Gecko's intentions, and just doing his heroic duty. Later they also join the fight, and says how honest and responsible leader he is. Later they both runs away from the fight and enjoys the different rides of the park. While they were on the giant wheel, they both touch each other's hand, but now fight came to an end, so they must have to leave each other. Finally day came to an end. While Misaki and Haru was heading back towards headquarters, Haru noticed the picture of Fudo with a girl. Later we see Desumi in her school, and came to know how she hid her identity in order to complete her high school. Desumi's friends teases her for being so workaholic, and how it will make her impossible to make boyfriend. And she shamelessly agrees with it. Just then she spot Fudo having lunch with his teammate. Haru asks Fudo out to find the girl in photo was his girlfriend or not, but knows she shouldn't ask about people's private life, and hesitates to ask him. Then Fudo reveals that he actually know what she want to ask, and incorrectly predicts that her question will be about strength training. He provides her a protein and a training regimen. She again starts to mention about picture, but he again interrupt her, assuming she was talking about picture of him in different positions. And after witnessing this display, Haru was confident that he could never have a girlfriend. Later again Gelato 5 arrives to stop Gecko again. Fudo continues to attack Desumi as usual, but Desumi kicks him seriously. He tried to communicate with her by glance, but she ignored that and continues to attack him. Later they both barge into a closed factory. Desumi asked Fudo what was he doing with Haru in the cafe. He explains that Haru was just asking some bodybuilding advice, and she admits that he would never cheat on me. But later looking them both together, she think how dating had just made her weak, and she don't deserve someone's love. But Fudo hugs her and says he is just an awkward guy, but always complete his promises, and would always love her and no one else in his life. He asks for her trust, and she gives it to him. Later she says she haven't forgiven the after-school date he was on, and demands to take her on one as well. He happily agrees. Just as they both notice, Haru was listening everything by just sitting next to them. They both get shocked. She just asks her to leave, and Fudo wonders that she must have not figured it out. He asks and she says that she heard everything from the very beginning. He think his team will be ashamed of him, and Haru will start the meeting with this announcement. Surprisingly she lies, and tell they both have school tests so they both have to leave early. He can't figure out why she haven't said anything, and Desumi starts paranoid as well. Just in case Haru is watching, they figure out to maintain the distance. But Desumi get fed up and decide to silent Haru forever. Fudo stops her, but she says don't worry as she will not miss her. Desumi noticed something, and asks Fudo to buy her one complicated name drink. Once Fudo leave, Haru shows up, and reveals she know her true identity, and challenge her for fight. However, it was just too one-sided, but Haru refuses to lose, and ended up knocking herself by Desumi. When she became conscious, she acknowledged her defeat and her strength, and exposed that the reason she joined the team was just because of Fudo. She always thought that he had girlfriend, but not that it would be an enemy, but also someone she knows personally. Haru revealed that she had saved her once by some thugs. Desumi says she must have became weak because of love, but Haru says she don't have any right to come between their relationship. They two both embrace and cry together. Later Fudo arrives and says sorry, because he was unable to find drink that she asked for, and he was shocked seeing Haru laying on her thighs, and think Desumi actually went through silencing Haru. 3 walks home and Haru says that she is happy for them. She then get close to Desumi and says if she give her any chance she will take Fudo from her, so they better get along. Sometime later the Supreme Leader Bossler arrange one meeting, and shows them monthly leaderboard, where we see Reaper Princess at the top. She was complimented for beating up Red Gelato bunch of times. While in the cafeteria, we get introduced with Kiki Majima, which is so competitive, and want to beat Desumi in the leaderboard, and also introduces to Steel Princess, and later reveals that she is in love. Desumi quickly volunteers in and asks her more about that. Later she says the person with whom I am in love is one of the co-worker, and knows that it's against the rules but can't help herself. Desumi says her to forget the rules, but Steel Princess says she would like to do that, but believe that she don't have any appealing qualities which should be in a woman. Desumi then cheers her up by saying she would help her to be more girly, so that she could express her feelings to the person she loves. They starts up with some exercises, then they do a bit cooking, and then read some feminine books, and also Steel Princess paint her nails for the first time. After failing in swimming, she express her thanks, and leave from there, being more depressed than before. Later she tells Fudo about this, and asks him how he feels. Fudo says he don't feel anything, and having his time with her all he wants. Then they both realize how lucky they both are. Later Desumi sees Steel Princess crying, but after dodging her all attacks, she tells her she not being good at something is fine, and she should be just herself, thanks to her friends. Steel Princess finally accepts herself, who she is, and express her love to Monster Bear. Later at the cafeteria, Bear have an intense conversation with other monster, that can he borrow Steel Princess for himself, Later in the battlefield, the two couples fight with Gelato 5. Blue Gelato suggests he must get paired, hence their team is stronger than before. After we see Fudo and Desumi eating together, Desumi suggests that we must feed each other, because couples are supposed to do it, but suddenly he passes out. When he wakes up, he finds himself in a hospital. It's been 3 days since that incident. It was appendicitis. He accepts Misaki's offer to have some food, but later remembers his promise and refuses to eat that. However, Haru saves Fudo from breaking it. After some time, Desumi arrives. Fudo says to her he won't die unless she feed him. After all that, the two finally gets their moment. As she feeds Fudo an apple, they both get more romantic, but suddenly Fudo's mother shows up and takes Desumi with her. For volleyball, later they two demonstrate really good teamwork and lead their team to victory. She later shows her younger version with Fudo in the picture, but she only focuses on Fudo and how cute he used to look in his childhood. Days later, Gecko and Gelato 5 fights again with each other, where Fudo and Desumi were deciding what should they do as their next couple's activity. It was summer, so she recommended her to go on a beach, and Fudo was flustered by thinking about wearing swimsuit. Then in canteen, Beast Princess notice Reaper Princess surrounded by deadly aura, and can only wonder what it can causing with. However, she was disappointed after finding out she was just confused in which desert she should eat. Later, Gecko members are called for an emergency meeting, where Basla reveals that he is going to change Desumi into a monster. Everyone cheers her, and says she can be cute as her bunny teammate. However, Basla reveals that she will be converted into a gorilla. She was clearly not happy with this, but later her family members calls her, and shows her how happy they are. Her mother informs that her sister is also planning to join Gecko after her graduation. After that, Fudo shows up to meet Desumi, and she explains him everything, and asks Fudo what he thinks about this. Fudo says do what your heart desires. Hence she decides not to get converted into a monster. Next day she breaks this news in front of everyone. Surprisingly, Bossler admires Reaper Princess, because how she has relied on her natural abilities. Later, Desumi and her teammates goes on a beach, because Fudo tells her that new Gelato robot testing was going to be held there. After some time, Reaper Princess and Beast Princess sees Fudo. Beast Princess suggests to attack him together, but she ignores her and runs towards him. After spending some fun time together, all Gelato and Desumi together have a barbecue, and later that night, Big Gelato starts fireworks, and Misaki tells Desumi she helped Fudo to be a nice man. But later, when Big Gelato plans to start the showstopper, something went wrong. Beast Princess sees that Reaper Princess is moving towards her, smiling, and surprisingly a big explosion takes place, and she thinks that it was done by her. And with this we concludes the part 1 of this anime. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below your opinions about this video. See you in the next one.